If you tell someone today, "You are very nice," they will probably smile and thank you. But if you said the same sentence to an English speaker several hundred years ago, they might think you were insulting them. Why? Because the word nice did not originally mean kind or pleasant. Today, in modern English, nice is usually used to describe someone who is friendly, kind, or pleasant. When we say someone is nice, we mean that their behavior is warm, polite, and easy to like. But the story of this word is far more surprising. The distant root of the word comes from the Latin word necius. This word was formed from two parts, na, meaning not, and sire, meaning to know. So necius literally meant someone who does not know. In other words, an ignorant person. When this word entered English through Old French during the Middle Ages, it kept a similar meaning. At that time, if someone was called nice, it meant they were foolish, simple-minded, or not very intelligent. But over time, the meaning slowly began to change. During the 15th and 16th centuries, something interesting happened. The word nice was often used to describe someone who was overly sensitive or too concerned with small details. In other words, a person who paid too much attention to tiny things. But gradually, people began to interpret this quality differently. If someone notices very small details, that also means they are capable of making very fine distinctions. Because of this, the meaning of the word slowly shifted. Instead of meaning foolish or oversensitive, it began to mean precise or subtle in judgment. In 16th century English texts, we can find expressions such as a nice distinction or a nice judgment. In these cases, the word nice did not mean stupid. Instead, it meant someone who had the ability to notice subtle differences and make careful decisions. In other words, society transformed the meaning of the word from a personal weakness into a mental ability. But another major change happened later. In the 18th century, British society was going through an important cultural shift. The middle class was growing quickly, and people began to care more about polite behavior, good manners, and social respectability. In cities such as London and Bath, people gathered in tea houses, clubs, and social salons. They talked about literature, philosophy, and especially the art of polite conversation. In this environment, words that described refined or pleasant behavior became very popular. The word nice, which already meant precise and refined, began to describe polite and agreeable behavior. If someone had nice manners, it meant their behavior was socially pleasant and well-mannered, and slowly the meaning shifted again. Over several centuries, the word followed this remarkable path: ignorant to overly sensitive to precise and refined, to pleasant and kind. Interestingly, not everyone was happy about this change. The famous English novelist, Jane Austen, even complained about it. In her novel, Northanger Abbey, one of the characters criticizes how often the word nice was used. People were beginning to use it for almost anything that seemed good or pleasant, and perhaps that is exactly why the word became so common. Today, when we say, "You are nice," we are using a word that has traveled through centuries of cultural change. A word that once meant ignorant has become one of the most common ways to describe kindness and pleasant behavior. And this reminds us that language, just like society itself, is always changing.